and I'll never back down. In the middle of the ring is where I lay the smack down. Against all odds, I will always prevail. So when you step to me, it's like hell in a cell.
Greetings and salutations, this is Christopher Daniels. I'm talking to my main man Delzinski right now. Any video game show, any video game channel, any YouTube channel called Vintage Shizzle is indeed hashtag Daniels approved.
Yo, alright guys, Delzinski here. Welcome to another We Talk Weekend. And as per usual, I am joined by my partner in crime, Smack Talks. How are you doing, mate?
I'm doing well, man. How's you?
I'm very good, thank you very much. I don't know, it's been another, we always say this, a controversial week in the wrestling industry.
It has been a controversial year so far.
It has, and I mean, not to mention, even more controversial, that Rusev, Dolph Ziggler, Summer Rae, and Lana storyline.
Speaking of controversial, that is like the biggest thing going, isn't it? It's scandalous.
Yeah.
Scandalous, absolutely scandalous. I can't believe it.
We're going to be talking about that in a bit of detail a little bit later because it's not just scandalous, it's like, it's so cringe. It's the most cringe-worthy storyline WWE have done in quite some time, I think.
I take it you're not enjoying it.
No? Are you enjoying it?
No. Is anyone enjoying it?
We talkers, let us know via the comment section below. So we're going to be talking about Rusev, Summer Rae, Lana, and Ziggler. And maybe his Ziggy Wiggy as well, because that nearly came out.
Ziggy Wiggy.
And as well, we're going to be talking about Seth Rollins doing double duty at Night of Champions. You called that.
I did. I'm going to take all the credits for that. I just listened to what I was saying and thought it was a good idea, so I picked up on it. They should do that with other things. They should. I mean, we have booked quite a lot of good scenarios in recent history on We Talk. So maybe someone's tapped in to We Talk and is now finally taking our advice. Let's hope so.
We've got Nikki Bella to talk about as well. She's sounding or looking more like she's going to pass AJ Lee without even defending the title. So,
strange booking again there, isn't it?
Yeah, just, maybe gave a bit of a hint that she might drop it before, but nope, just let it pass by, as you do. So, we're going to be talking about Nikki Bella. We're going to be talking about GFW and TNA, because it sounds like something's going to happen in terms of someone gaining power. That's not like TNA to not do a power struggle, is it? It's
always a fun topic to talk about, isn't it?
It is. So that is going to be another conversation. And last but not least, we're going to talk about something a little bit more serious, and that's Jimmy Fly Snooker and the issues that he's having at the moment. And maybe reviewing, in comparison, Hulk Hogan's situation. It's different, but how WWE have treated both the scenarios with regards to trying to remove them from history. So we're going to talk about that at the final part of today's show. So, absolutely shed loads to talk about. Let's talk about first things first. Actually, got a quick thing for you. Don't you think that the new chap of the Wyatt family, Strowman? Yeah. He looks a bit like Gene Snitsky.
He does now you mention it. I was trying to remember, think when I was watching it the other day who he looked like. So now you've mentioned it, he does actually look like him. I didn't realise how big he is. The guy's absolutely massive. He's
huge, but he's got that wasn't my fault look. He's got that look. All he needs to do is find not Lana, Lita somewhere, and then oh no. Do you remember that story? That was a cringeworthy storyline.
I think I've erased that from my memory, just like this Rusev one. I will be.
Yeah. Well, I just thought I'd bring that up because it kind of just appeared in my head. He does really look like Gene Snitsky, as it does. He does.
He does. I totally agree with that. Now you've mentioned it, I can see the resemblance.
Maybe it's his brother.
Could be.
Could we see Gene Snitsky return to the WWE?
Don't know.
Saw him in TNA a little while ago. Lasted about a week.
Most people do in TNA.
Yeah, that's true.
Some only last a day.
Bully Ray? Maybe not.
Yep.
Right, let's talk about the big talking point first. Seth Rollins doing double duty at Night of Champions. He's going to be facing John Cena, likely earlier in the night, and then the main event will be Sting and Seth Rollins for the WWE World titles. So, First of all, you called that, and we've kind of given you your praise, so you're not getting any more today. All right, that's enough of that.
Feel free to lump it on us.
And what do you think of the scenarios that are going to play out here? Because I'll give you what I think. I think that he's going to lose the United States Championship. I think he's going to drop that, and then I think some dodgy interference will cost Sting the championship match. I've been thinking about this week. But I would say if that does happen, what an absolute waste of time it was to give him the United States Championship. But I don't see him doing anything else with it.
Well, I totally agree with it, because it's a good excuse to kind of have him lose the title now, straight away. But it devalues the whole, like, first time anyone's ever done it. We would kind of expect them to hold it for a little while afterwards. But there's no point in having him have both titles, because you can't defend both of them at the same time. So I think it's a good way to get him to lose that match, and then it puts you into like some doubt for the main event. But I don't know which way that I'd go. I'm still not entirely decided. I think Sting's got a chance, but Rollins always seems to find a way.
Yeah, I just think, like you're saying, it would be so pointless though if we do go through that phase where he just wins it back and then Cena's back to doing, you know, the United States Champion challenge, and why would you bother doing that? I mean, Rollins, it's probably likely that Rollins is going to retain both belts, come to think about it, because at least that would make him look stronger, and maybe the fact that Triple H plays a part in the main event, which ultimately could lead to a feud between Triple H and Rollins. So I do think that maybe as well the bigger picture is that Rollins is going to be made to look really strong by winning the event and winning both matches, but not winning them in the way that you'd expect, like winning clean. He possibly will cheat in both matches.
Yeah, I think so. The only question I would say is, like, how do you think it'll play out for Sting? Is this going to be like a one-off appearance again, where he loses this match and then he goes back into oblivion? Or do you think we'll see something happen in the main event with Triple H getting involved, and then it'll be a case of Survivor Series comes around and it's kind of Team Sting against Team Authority?
I'd be really disappointed if Sting goes away straight after it. I mean, I don't see the point of him coming back just for one match. Again, his promo... Right, actually, speaking of Seth Rollins and everything, did you see Sting's promo on Raw?
I did. I thought it was pretty good.
But does it make sense, is the question? Because why does he respect Triple H? Why would you respect someone that smashed you in the face with a sledgehammer? Why would you respect that? I wouldn't respect that. You cheated to beat me.
Well,
why was
it all comes down to like the end of the match though, Mania, because like afterwards, like all they're shaking hands.
Yes, they did shake hands, but I questioned that when that happened as well. Why would you shake a man's hand that kind of cheated to beat you? If he beat you fairly and squarely, then it's fine. But you can't shake a man's hand who's cheated to win and then have all this respect for him. You're not quite a Triple H, was I think Sting's exact words. What's that supposed to mean? I mean, if Seth Rollins beats him clean, that means he's better than Triple H. Because Triple H couldn't do it against Sting.
Arguably, yeah, I would say so. But I'm sure then Triple H would have something to say about that.
Oh, of course. Well, and then that maybe leads to the story, to the feud. But I really don't want to see Sting, as I said on previous We Talk, see him lose and then just disappear again. That's pointless. I still think WWE have gone way overboard with all of this. I really think the storyline should be that Sting's come back to regain the title, or to capture the title, and then have him dismantle the Authority from within inside as they all break to pieces themselves. And that still might happen, but I don't know. There's a lot of things waiting to be seen from Night of Champions, and it's hard to put your finger on exactly how it's going to go down. I just worry quite a lot that we might get a lot of cheating, fudgy finishes. And the more and more that Sting talks about Triple H, I don't like it, because I don't think he should have any respect for him. Because that wasn't what he came in for. I'll go back to that again.
Well, he come in to take out the Authority, so if he does take the title, then it's a big shot at the Authority. But I don't see how it's going to make too much of like a difference. I think it's kind of been and gotten the whole authority like angle from to take them out. It seems to just be now Sting against Rollins.
Have you seen though as well the way that they've tried to change this story completely? Because obviously it was that focus on that WCW bit earlier, but now it's become more of a respect element. And like I say, Triple H, Sting with the respect to Triple H, but Stephanie as well with her backstage segments with Rollins. It was like almost hinting more towards that, Sting was like questioning, like, you being a legend, like the game, Triple H. And this is going more towards the storyline that they had with Randy Orton. And they were with questioning the champion again. And I don't understand how the vigilante who came in to destroy the authority has now become a case of where they're almost agreeing with the vigilante.
Well, yeah, I guess what you're saying. It's kind of like changed so much, but it's kind of getting back to the roots, I guess. Like what happens, like I mentioned earlier, with Survivor Series, if they have like a match where it's Team Sting against Team Authority, then it kind of like goes back to what we had last year, where Sting was coming in, he kind of like got rid of the Authority. So it's kind of like the same thing that happened then, but obviously it didn't last very long. The Authority comes straight back, and the whole comparison with Orton, that angle has kind of continued, because even though Orton got dropped, it just picked up where it left off with Rollins.
Well, there was a really good, I can't remember who actually made the point on, was it Sting that said it? No, it was John Cena. Of course, it would be John Cena.
Always John Cena,
the voice of reason. He did say that every single champion or someone that's been top level at the Authority has been used and abused, and he's kind of right, because he had, what would you have? Orton, we had Batista. All of them came to an end where they finished and they walked away from the Authority because they didn't agree with them. And Seth Rollins is the next meal ticket that could happen with. So in a way, it would make sense that again this is going to happen, but it's, I don't know. I think there was more that they could have done with this. It could have been made much bigger. And like you say, maybe we're going to get this Survivor Series match, but then we got Sting teaming with John Cena.
You might get a win though if he's got Cena on his side.
That doesn't count. That's a Survivor Series match.
Well, there you go. You're summing up like the whole like feelings towards the Survivor Series pay-per-view now and the Survivor Series matches. Now it's kind of changed over the years.
Well, if you're going to do a big angle, I don't think you can really do it ending with that. I don't know. I mean, getting back to Night of Champions, it's so. How do you think it's going to play out with Cena? Because obviously he's talking up his game again, and I found it interesting on Raw that he's now able to book his own matches. Just says to the Authority, I get a rematch. I get it when I like.
Isn't that always the case for Cena though?
But doesn't the Authority have any authority?
Well, it did, but they used it to give him the match.
Well, this is what I mean. It's just a crap Authority, isn't it? They just keep booking matches against their champion. Why are they never satisfied with their champions? They might as well make Triple H champion and be done with it.
Well, that's where they're surely going with this. I can't say anything else. It's all going to be like a ploy to get like Triple H over at WrestleMania as like the new champion, like taking out Rollins. But it's just like it's taking place at such an odd time because we're so far away from WrestleMania, and it's the opposite TNA. Like TNA's whole invasion angle is being booked over like the course of like a couple of weeks, and like it's culminating next week. So that's all been completely rushed. WWE just do the complete opposite, where they stretch stuff out for such a long time, and it's just really hard to kind of keep involved with it when they try and play it out to get to a certain event to kind of have the payoff. But the way they book it like this, it makes you sort of look at the calendar. I think we've got like, 6-7 months or something till WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. So do you keep Rollins as the champion all that time and eventually go for that match with Triple H, which surely is spot the building now, because it wouldn't really make sense to have such a big match on any of the other pay-per-views. I mean, maybe the Royal Rumble, but then that's kind of like your prelude to WrestleMania. It's not your big payoff.
I think they just confuse the booking too much. Like they drop a storyline and they revisit it. Whereas what they should do is, if they're gonna start it, then like you say, wrap it up in a period of time which is close to the point and it has a decent build to it, what they try and do is they run out of ideas and then they're like, oh, hold on, light bulb moment, let's just go and give Sting a call, get him back here and we can rehash the authority storyline. Because if you remember rightly, he wasn't done yet, but why didn't they just like quickly bring that on after he'd lost his match at WrestleMania, not do all the shaking hand angle? I cannot believe that was planned. I cannot believe that they thought 4 months later they would be doing this. I'm not believing that. And again with The Undertaker and Brock Lesnar, it was like the time period that they left it, we kind of all expected something to happen, but then it came they went with the different approach with Taker having a different WrestleMania match, and we all thought we would get Taker coming for his rematch. It just feels like all of a sudden they pick things out of thin air to revisit.
Yeah, well, it makes you kind of think what the whole plan is when they actually do these booking sessions. And it's like, if they've got nothing on the table, they just look to see what's happened in the past and where they can revisit it. But what they should be doing is kind of setting the end point and then working a way towards it, instead of just doing this where it kind of feels like it's off the fly and they don't really know what's coming next. They'll just kind of throw something together at the last minute.
Yeah, it's like week by week booking it, and it just makes things awkward. It's like I say, the way I'd book the Authority is to be a hell of a lot more powerful and respect of their champion. And I still think that, it might be stealing a bit from the Attitude Era when we had like your corporate champ, and but they believed in like having The Rock as their champion. It was only like to a point where The Rock started questioning them that it all began to fall a bit to pieces. I don't understand why they want to go down a route of having all their champions look terribly weak.
Well, it's them that's making the champion look weak, I think.
Well, it is. That's the issue. It's like, surely they should be like, if they were smart about it, they could play a game where they don't give, for example, John Cena his title shot, and he'd have to earn his title shot instead of getting a straight away instant rematch. It just, to me, and as well, I think the factor is, has Brock Lesnar had his proper rematch yet? His official rematch yet?
Not yet, no.
So John Cena can come out and just immediately book himself for the next pay-per-view, but Brock Lesnar cannot do this. Brock Lesnar has to be tailed off into a different direction. And surely, if you're the Beast and you're Heyman, your priority, to be honest, Undertaker's an issue, but he's not the main priority. For Brock Lesnar, it should be the championship that he was unfairly lost to Seth Rollins.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. It's kind of strange that they're not giving Brock that rematch, but I guess they're kind of saving that for a little bit. But the problem is, like with Undertaker, when are we going to get that match? And what's going to happen with Brock in the meantime?
Well, I can only, as I said before, I would say it's a massive loss if we never got the Undertaker Sting match, because everybody's wanted to see it, and if they never did it, and they've recorded it in games as commentary and everything like that, if we never got it, it would just seem ridiculous after all this time for everybody's wanting to see it. It's in, Texas, it would make sense. So if they do go with Lesnar and Taker at WrestleMania, then I would say that we'll never ever see Taker Sting. So I don't know. You've brought back Sting now, so it gives me an indication that you want to utilise him. So, are they ever going to cross paths? It's really difficult to understand, because they've just, as I said before, they just pick things out of thin air. Now's the time for Taker to face Brock. It's SummerSlam. We've got to sell tickets.
It all just depends on where they go in terms of having this next match. If they wait for WrestleMania, then I think it's kind of like waiting another year for Undertaker and Sting is maybe a big ask, especially like how like bad a shape Undertaker seems to be in with his knees and things. So like waiting an extra year, it just kind of kills that dream match element even more, because they're not going to be able to put on at the same level. But if it was me, I would just book that for next year. Kind of do like Undertaker and Lesnar a rematch, maybe Survivor Series, and then you can have Sting Undertaker at WrestleMania and do everything you can. Get Austin back, Austin and Brock, WrestleMania. There you go. You've got two huge matches. And I think people would much rather see that than see the Undertaker and Lesnar yet again.
Yeah, I think they've got to have their third encounter, but I don't think it's worth having at WrestleMania. They kind of, made that effort to keep saying it was the match that was bigger than for bigger than WrestleMania or whatever it was, but then they're probably going to try and book it for this year's WrestleMania. So again, it goes full circle. But
well, that's the thing. They kind of say it's bigger than WrestleMania, and then again have it at WrestleMania. It's like the whole once in a lifetime. Okay, twice in a lifetime. Just sort out what you're doing. Get the marketing campaigns right. Don't say it's bigger than WrestleMania. Have it somewhere else, and then plan to have like a third encounter at WrestleMania.
The only other thing that you could do is, if Sting was to pick up the title, you'd kind of like to think that maybe a Sting title run up to WrestleMania. But like you say, it's a hell of a long time for him to have that belt. If he did have that, and then you have the Undertaker versus Sting for the championship, one of them wins it. Sting's already had his win then, so he could take a loss, and then hands back the belt. It goes into a tournament after on Raw, but it's all a long way away, so can't see it.
Well, that's what I mean. Like when you had the Undertaker always kind of rock up at the Royal Rumble, like around that sort of time, like the Raw after, then you knew there was like a plan leading into WrestleMania. And if this was all taking place around that time with Sting, you could kind of see maybe that would be where they're going. But there's just such a long time to that. It makes you kind of question if it's the right time to sort of give him a little title run now. I think it'd be good to see him get it, but at the same time, I think you probably should keep it with Rollins as much as I want him to lose the title until Royal Rumble at the earliest.
Well, I don't understand. Like I said, I still don't understand the whole the questioning of his championship reign, and it feels like that they're trying to establish him a bit. Like he had that really good performance at SummerSlam. So if you can build on that, and let's say he can beat Cena clean, but then loses to Sting, that would make it look good. Or if he does beat Cena, he's got to win one of these matches clean, surely, because otherwise, again, he looks like a terribly weak champion.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's how he's been booked all the time. He's always looked really weak. So I think if he beats Sting, it's a credible name to have him actually like go over and kind of prove that he is the man, which he's been labelled as now over this last week. But at the same time, if it's some kind of fudgy finish and he gets the win, it's still exactly the same thing. There's been no point in bringing Sting in just to do that. If he does beat Sting, he has to beat him clean.
It's a really difficult scenario. But they've brought this on themselves again. So you can't sympathise and say, oh well, they were put in a predicament, because they really weren't. They had the pick of it. Frustrating, man.
It is. It's really frustrating, especially for a Sting fan like yourself, because you must be looking at this match thinking, oh, I can't see him beating Rollins. It's going to be another loss for Sting. That's 0-2. Where's he going to get this victory?
I would not be able to believe that. I would not be able to believe that Sting is going to beat Rollins clean at Night of Champions. I think there's going to have to be some sort of interference. I think there has to be something. So I think that Triple H will be involved. I think it may be even Triple H will pedigree Seth Rollins and get Sting disqualified to teach him a lesson, something like that.
Well, I think Triple H getting involved is probably the obvious choice, but they never go with the obvious choice anymore. So I could see him getting involved, but I think it'll probably be a case of accidentally taking out Rollins if it does happen, and then Sting wins. Other than that, the only thing I want to see is Rollins beat Sting clean to actually show that he can win a match and it doesn't make him look weak for a change.
I don't know. It's. If I was booking it at the moment, I think let's end it on this. Let's say our bookings at the moment. It might change by the time Night of Champions rolls around, but I think I'd have him beat Cena clean. That's what I'd do. I'd have him beat Cena clean because I think, I'd have him beat Cena clean. It makes it really difficult because I'm just thinking about things that would come after that, and then I'd have in the main event, I'd have him win via a disqualification and have Triple H come in. Sting's down. Rollins is down. Triple H hits the ring. You all think he's going to pedigree. The referee's down. You're going to think he's going to pedigree Sting. He pedigrees Rollins instead. And that referee comes round, looks at him like, what have you done? And then rings for the bell. Sting's DQ'd on that basis. Then we're going to get Triple H versus Sting again. In terms of the United States Championship, obviously Seth Rollins retains his belts. That's where it gets hard because I really see no point for him having this belt. Releases it, merges it. Can't see what else he can do with the belt. I don't think they're the right things to do, but I can't see what he can do for that belt, why he's got it. That means that Cena could win, so that ruins my booking.
Well, that's it's really hard, isn't it? It's just you have to kind of take that title off him, like the United States Championship, because it's not going to go anywhere while he's got it. It's always going to be like second fiddle to the main championship. But how do you take it off him and kind of not make him look weak as a champion, which you've been doing all the time? So I guess I should say make him look more weak as a champion.
So how would you book it then? Let's finish for you with your booking at the moment.
I don't know. I'd maybe go with what you said for Cena, like have him retain it anyway. I'd prefer the opposite result, but then Cena get involved in the main event and
fuck off, Cena.
Cost Rollins the match, because it was Sting that like got involved like last year, and he like helped Team Cena win. I think Ziggler was like the last member. So Cena can just like pay him back for that.
Oh no!
What do you mean? No. If Sting wins, you'll be like super happy. You'll be bouncing off the walls.
Yeah, but then Cena's decided to poke his nose in again.
That's not going to put like a damper on it for you.
It probably is.
You've just said like Triple H is going to like pedigree Rollins, and it'll like cost him the match. Would you prefer that?
But for the sake of the storyline.
Forget the storyline. You're a Sting fan. You should want him the champion regardless.
I do want him to win. I got loads of abuse last week telling me because I'm such a Sting fan. Get over
you
it.
You probably deserved it. Damn Sting fan.
I know. Ridiculous. So yeah, I mean, let us know via the comment section below. As you can see, between me and Smack Talks at the moment, it's still really difficult to book this event because you just simply don't know what's going to go down. So it'd be nice to get all of your scenarios via the comment section below of how you would book first John Cena and Seth Rollins and then moving on to the championship match. Get involved via the comment section below because I'm sure that you will make a better effort at booking it than us at the moment because we are simply confused.
I think what we should do is we should both put together a simulation of how we think the matches will play out, and then people can say which they prefer.
What on 2K15?
On 2K15, we'll play it out and see what happens, and like both of our opinions.
We should do that. I've done some simulations, but nothing like planned out. I should plan it.
We can do that, and then we can set up a vote and see what people prefer.
We should try and work on this.
We should. We'll work on that.
We will. We will get something put together. And then we'll get your views on it.
We'll go head to head.
So let's kind of swiftly move on to something that I don't really want to talk about, but I feel we've got to talk about it because it is so bad.
I'm sure you want to talk about it. You bring it up all the time. And you got to see that Rusev face.
Yeah, the Rusev face. There's nothing wrong with the Rusev face. It's absolutely fine, the Rusev face. Everyone loves the Rusev face. You can see it's trending on Twitter daily.
I kind of like Ambrose's face, though, as well. Especially when he hits Strowman with like the chair.
Like the scared look, the petrified Ambrose look. Ooh.
Yeah, it's like Ambrose and Rusev. Like, just pair them up and just have like a contest between them with the facial expressions.
Yeah, but I think I know why he gets that petrified look on his face, because as he hits him with the chair, because Strowman has that oozing energy of Gene Snitsky, he immediately gets a picture of his head of Gene Snitsky licking Lita's feet.
You had to go there, didn't you?
Had to go there. Thanks, We Talkers. Now you can all enjoy that thought. Unless you kind of like that stuff.
People's just turning off right now.
Someone's probably getting turned on.
Oh, I can't believe you said that.
Boom.
Only Gene Snitsky.
Wasn't my fault. That's such a good saying, though, wasn't it, really, to be honest?
I don't know. I'm not a fan of Snitsky.
No one's a fan of Snitsky.
Well, I can't see anyone being a fan of Snitsky. If you are, let me know about it in the comments. But I don't think there'll be many comments in regards to it.
I would love it if we got a Snitsky super fan. That is so hard to say. Do you know that? Try and say Snitsky Snoop. Jesus Christ, have a go.
Snitsky super fan.
Yeah, the Snitsky super. I've got it now. Got it. Bing. So Yeah, if you are a Snitsky super fan, let us know via the comment section below. That is like that would be amazing.
What, getting a super fan in there?
A Snitsky super fan. I would. You're more than welcome to come on and be questioned about Gene Snitsky.
Just berating you for being a Sting fan, and just it's all about Snitsky. That's all it is.
It's all about Snitsky.
Just rage in the comments.
So anyway, back to what we were talking about, which was we were talking about Dean Ambrose's look, wasn't it? So I obviously said why he looks like that, but so why do you like that look so much?
Well, it's iconic. Ambrose face, like the whole shield, like with Rollins turning on him.
Yes.
He's got so many great expressions. I think he's the one person that can go up against Rusev face.
Let's be honest as well, though. At the end of the day, Strowman just likes to hug it out like Bayley. He's just a bigger version of Bayley.
He's a hugger. He needs a Bayley shirt. Well, I'm a hugger, aren't I?
He hugs you into unconsciousness. So nice.
Just because he loves you, puts you to sleep.
Cuddle.
Yeah.
That's what he should do. That's what he should be. He should cuddle.
That should be the name of the finisher. Just cuddle.
The cuddler.
Yeah, that's exactly what they need in the Wyatt family. Just a little bit of love.
Behold the cuddler. I mean, I don't know. I'm a fan of all faces. So we've got Ambrose face and Rusev face now. Can we top this? Can we top this?
I don't think we can. I think they're the two best ones, unless anyone else has got any other suggestions.
You've got to suggest. You can tweet us as well. Tweet me and Smack Talks this. I'm sure he'll appreciate this. Tweet us your favourite faces with the hashtag of the superstar and the face.
I'm looking forward to that.
Do it. Do it now. So let's kind of go back to the original conversation, and the topic that I didn't want to talk about, but we are going to talk about because we've got to talk about it, is Rusev, Summer Rae, Lana, and Dolph Ziggler and his Ziggy Wiggy.
No comment.
You got no comment. You can't just have no comment. I've scripted this into the show this week. You can't just not say anything.
But you didn't even want to talk about it.
I know I didn't want to talk about it, but we've got to talk about it now. We've got to talk.
So you're making me talk about it?
Yeah, you like this stuff. You said before the show.
What? I don't know what you were listening to. I just think it's been like one of them angles where it gets to the point where you think, oh God, at least it's coming to an end and it can't get any worse. And then it continues and it gets worse and worse and worse and worse. It's just, just end it already. Like, I don't see why they've gone down this whole new angle with this. It's obviously like Rusev maybe putting Summer up to this to like kind of get back at Lana and make her distrust Ziggler.
Did you really think they go there? Did you really think they go to where they've gone now with the whole like shower incident and he like, what was it? He seduced her. I mean, this is the PG era and they're pushing the boundary of something that I find, I don't know. I was worried where they were really going to go, and I wouldn't be surprised if they possibly could have gone there, but they chose to just leave it down to being seduced. But then, I mean, I think it's a bit of a. I think it's a bit of a damaging storyline to all parties involved, because if you look at all the guys and girls that are involved in this storyline, first you had Rusev, who was like the beast. He was like a monster at the beginning. You know, you couldn't stop Rusev. He was just, putting everybody in the accolade or the camel clutch and making them all humble. So he was doing that. Lana was like the strong, powerful woman, and she was having none of it as well. Ziggler, a little while ago was trying to fight for the honour of the Intercontinental Championship and kind of losing it in and out. But Ziggler's always, for my view, been destined for better things than this. So he's just pushed down the card. And then for Summer Rae, well, she's better in terms of just she can wrestle, and they never give her the opportunity. So they just keep sticking her in these storylines where she's kind of showing herself off. That's why she's been paired with the show off, maybe. But it just. I feel that all of these people involved in this could be doing so much more better stuff. I think that Lana should have stayed with Rusev because, look, you built him up as a monster heel, and to be honest, you could have kept going. All you've done since he lost to Cena was damage him. That's what I think. Ziggler, I don't know. I've watched a few interviews with Ziggler recently where he kind of slagged off John Cena. So maybe I'm feeling that's, and these aren't recent interviews, but I'm feeling maybe that's why he never gets his fair shot, because he's not happy about like your John Cena's of this world, and he thinks he's a better wrestler than him anyway. So maybe that's why Ziggler never goes any higher. And then Lana, God Christ, it's ridiculous, this, isn't it? Summer Rae, I don't know. They just don't want to make her a wrestler.
Well, I think what we've learned this week is like no matter when something takes place in time, like it can always come back to you. So like maybe it could be a case of like Ziggler has said something about Cena and they put him in this angle just to like try and teach him a lesson, I guess. And I'm sure after this he won't say anything bad ever again.
He must. I can't believe that he likes this storyline. I just got to think to himself, like a little while ago, when it was all the debate, they could have gone to TNA and stuff. And I mean, I'm looking at the way TNA's going at the moment, I'm glad he definitely did re-sign. But I mean, you can see why he probably or might have thought about going somewhere else because of just this. This is just not good. It's just rubbish for him. He's better than this. He deserves to be booked better. The interviews that I've seen, it's just basically that I think that Ziggler, and he's right, thinks he's a better wrestler than John Cena, and Cena gets all the shots. Completely true.
Completely true, but at the same time, we've got others stepping up like Cesaro and Owens. So there's opportunities there. I'm sure it's just a case of if Ziggler has said something, then that's probably the reason why it's been held back. But in terms of the angle, one thing that I would kind of question is, can you remember the exact reason why Rusev got rid of Lana in the first place?
Well, it was because of her she kept letting him down, wasn't it? And then she cost him a few matches, didn't she?
So would you say that is a worse thing than what Summer's done here? If she has actually done this in terms of like going into Ziggler's locker room, like meeting him in the shower, kissing him. Should he not be getting rid of Summer at this point instead of standing by her?
But isn't this a Rusev master plan? This is like the Rusev face at his height because he's orchestrated this. He wants her to turn Lana against Ziggler, and then he thinks that Lana's going to come back to him. That's the story, isn't it? That's what he wants to happen. Because he keeps going, Lana, like that.
It just it just doesn't make too much sense in terms of like Rusev. Like you see like Lana and getting really upset with Ziggler about it. Surely it's pretty obvious to her that this is like all just a ruse.
I'd be honest with you. Everybody likes Lana. Everybody loves like the way Lana is. Me, no, not so much. Pretty much bored of Lana. She comes out every week with the same face on. That it's either it's not the same face, but it's either happy and love, or it's oh, somebody's done me wrong and I'm really upset. And I just think to myself, oh God, this is rubbish. You were like the crush him and you were all that sort of stuff before. So what the hell's happened to you? I hate it. I hate what's happened to her as a character. And they have to do this at some point because they've got to get her to speak her normal voice. But the way she's dressing at the moment is within a couple of weeks, boom, you just change completely the whole attitude that you had.
Well, I'm waiting for like a musical here with them in Greece, like the way they're dressing.
And a lot of people pointing out Dolph Ziggler's new attire as well. He's trying to look more and more like Shawn Michaels. What do you think?
With what? With the tights?
Yeah.
I don't know. Is just because he's wore tights? Is that the reason?
He just kind of is a bit like Shawn Michaels, isn't he? Really selling. He's a good athlete, good in ring. Just needs the super kick now as his finisher.
Well, everyone's always compared him with Michaels. Like I always thought it was a good comparison, but he never gets the opportunity to step up anymore.
I would say with Ziggler, there's a bigger issue. It's not just this storyline. This storyline's awful. This kind of tops it off. But he hasn't dropped the ball, but they've dropped the ball with his booking so many times. He's had so many wishy-washy Intercontinental Championship reigns. He had a crap world title reign. It's like, you've done this, WWE. You screwed this guy up. You have to change his character dramatically to make him any better. The only way you can do that, I feel, is like a Sheamus character, turn him heel.
I'd prefer to see a heel Ziggler now. Like, I think we've seen him face for too long, and he always did work pretty well as a heel. People always got behind him anyway.
Yeah, so I think that would be the best thing to do. In terms of Lana, I would have liked them to have gone for the old switchback. I would like them to have just kind of recognised they're wrong here and just at some point have her double turn on Ziggler, because I don't like it. I don't think they're going to ever go there. I think they're going to keep pushing this until she can become her normal self. But I think it's awful.
So would you prefer to see that Lana fully believes this angle and then Rusev has her crush Summer and Ziggler?
I'd like her to rejoin Rusev, yeah, and whatever happens, happens. What do you think?
I kind of see it playing out that way, but I would prefer them to like get back together. Like, I think that's the only way you can kind of save the two of them at the minute.
I don't want to see like Ziggler and Summer Rae partner up. No. The storyline has to be done, ended, kaput. No more.
So let's switch this round. We'll do what you said.
Yes.
Like, you can have Lana and Rusev back together.
Mm-hmm.
So you're all happy there, happy Rusev face. And then we'll have Ziggler and Summer Rae pair up as a heel. So you've got Ziggler as the heel again. Does that improve the angle for you?
I don't want the angle though anymore. I want Dolph Ziggler to go away and do his own stuff, and Summer Rae to go away and do it. I don't want them interacting anymore. No.
So we'll just end the angle there. We'll just send them all away.
Well, no, we won't send them away. Rusev can be like, he's got his girl back. He's happy now. He can like go and take more,
He can be a hugger.
He can just take more pictures of himself with more random Rusev faces. All that stuff. He can do all that. It'll be fine. Ziggler can go and focus onto something that he should be focused on, like moving up the ladder. And Summer Rae can go and do another film with The Miz or something like that. I don't know. I think she should just be involved in the Divas stuff. Why can't they just use her like that? Why is she outside of all of this?
It's been like that ever since she come up with Fandango. She's never been like the wrestler that she was in NXT. So it's always a strange situation. It's like maybe they think the crowd now doesn't expect her to wrestle, so they're kind of keeping her away from it. But I think they're leading to a match anyway. I think it's going to be a case of like a mixed tag team match.
That'll be fun.
So I want to see like what Lana can do now. They've gone so far as to say like we're going to get her physical in the ring. She like took down Summer again on SmackDown, left out like a huge shiner on Raw, I think it was. So I want to see what these two can actually do in the ring.
I don't get me wrong. The mixed tag match is what I wanted to see in the first place. I wanted to see that at SummerSlam. They never gave us it, so we got to get that match. I don't have high hopes for it, but at least it could be a way to kind of make the feud finish. So I'm not getting much more positive than that.
Let's end on that. Let's hope that it just ends with this mixed tag team match. And we just don't have to talk about it again after that.
Would love to hear someone provide some positives on this, because I can't draw any positives from it.
The only positive I would say is, like, I think Summer Rae would be happy with it because it's give her focus, whereas before she was just, like, hanging around backstage when there's celebrities there. So she's the only one that's actually, like, come out of this with, like, any good points.
Yeah, I do. I agree with that. I think she's been given an opportunity. I think she's done well with it, but I just don't like the storyline that it is. So that's the trouble with it. And people will reflect on this and think it was an awful storyline. So it doesn't better her very much, to be honest.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Let's kind of keep on the whole Divas, the women's side. I know you're loving this at the moment. Nikki Bella's so close to surpassing AJ Lee's record. Happy?
So happy.
Everyone
like,
hates it, man. Apart from you.
I kind of like understand the whole like beat the clock challenge, set up a new like #1 contender, like to try and take this title off Nikki. The whole like Bellatron, counting down like the days till she breaks AJ's record, and then you announce that the match is going to take place at Night of Champions, which is 3 weeks away, when she breaks the record in less than 3 weeks. So why haven't you set this before then? So there's actually like a challenge, and it's whether or not she'll break it. At the minute, it's just like, well, she is going to break it. She doesn't have to defend the title until 3 weeks.
Well, that's the worst bit about it, isn't it? They've timed it all wrong. The only way they can fix it is by having someone is it Charlotte who's got the shot?
Yeah, Charlotte won the beat the clock, so she's got the match against Nikki at Night of Champions.
Yeah, the only way that they can kind of make this work is to have her come out and demand to have the match earlier.
Well, I think they're going to like maybe they've got to arrange like something like in the lead up to this. So I think the day that she levels it could be SmackDown. I know it's taped on a Tuesday, so it's a few days early, but it'll air on the Wednesday maybe, which might be the day before now.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if they were to do something then, it's kind of awkward because it's a taped event. So unless they do like a Super SmackDown Live, so it's like whether or not Nikki actually does defend that title and break or level AJ's record, I think that'd be quite cool to see. And it keeps people on edge rather than put out like taped results and then you know whether or not she's done it, and just further devalues like the whole thing if she like does pass that record. The only kind of thing that's come out of this that's been good is the whole hashtag things better than Nikki's reign on Twitter, because there's been so many great things. You could even throw the Rusev angle in there. That's been better than Nikki's reign.
I wonder what she thinks of it all. She's probably quite happy with it, to be honest. She's never got so much publicity. Oh, the other thing that came out this week as well was that John Laurinaitis is like marrying their mum, isn't it, or something like that? Or she got engaged.
I did hear that as well, yeah.
Big Johnny, you dog.
Big Johnny in the bedroom.
You said it. Adds new meaning to the term Big Johnny and the people power. People power. He's going for the people power push.
Wow. Get Gene Snitsky in there as well.
Oh dear. That really would be, what would it be? Imagine that. Imagine Gene Snitsky with a bit of twin magic.
Do I have to imagine this?
Imagine Gene Snitsky, a bit of twin magic with a hint of Big Johnny pushing the people power.
Wow. Certainly not PG.
No, we just took it. We just took We Talk to rated R. That's what we just done there.
It totally is. It's like the whole sorority again.
Oh dear, no, we can't talk about them. I have had to sell all the VHSs now.
You sold them?
Had to get rid of them. Gave them all to the J-Man. He loves them.
Oh man,
he loves that whilst he's cracking eggs over his head.
I was just going to say something about that, but you beat us to it.
It was excellent.
It was. Amazing stuff.
I know. If you haven't seen the J-Man and his egg challenge, I'll link it in the description box below. It's fantastic. He said it wasn't that bad, but I thought it looked very bad, cracking the eggs on your head. It's very, very extreme. It's like taking things to the extreme in terms of a prediction game for SummerSlam, that was.
It was. So he wasn't just like smashing them over his head for the sake of it, though. There was like a reason behind it.
Yeah, but basically, just to clue you guys up, check the video in the description box below. And the idea is that every time he got a prediction wrong, he'd crack an egg over his head. It's excellent, as I said.
It is excellent indeed.
But anyway, in terms of this Divas Championship reign from Nikki Bella, the only way I can really see it being kind of awesome is if they actually did get AJ Lee to come back.
How good would that be if like AJ comes back and challenges like the day before, like the record? That's
the only way I could see it happening, to be honest with you. But I don't think that's going to happen because they've already booked Charlotte for the Night Champions. Sod that.
Oh, we could then get AJ against Charlotte?
No, because they wouldn't want Charlotte to lose. Problem.
Well, yeah, it is. It's an awkward situation. It's just like the whole... There's so much focus on it now. You kind of think that there must be like putting her in the position where she can at least level it.
The trouble is it's all the backstage politics stuff that people think, and we don't know. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it isn't. Maybe they just see and they think, but I think there is a lot to do with the whole thing that she's dating Cena, Big Johnny's in the mix. There's a lot of things there that kind of make you think that this was like just a reason to get rid of AJ Lee's title reign. And I'll be honest with you, I wasn't ever the biggest fan of AJ Lee, but I mean, I kind of feel it's a bit out of order to just be like, look, we need to get rid of that reign, so this is what we're going to do, and we're going to give it to you because you're dating John Cena.
Well, did AJ ever do anything like to deserve this treatment though?
Yes, she did. You want to know what that was?
What was that?
She got with CM Punk.
Yeah, but aside from that...
It's not. That's it. That's what it is. It's sour grapes on Vince McMahon's behalf, isn't it? It's like she. Well, you could say that Vince isn't happy the way that she left, because she kind of came back, got a WrestleMania moment, she won, and then she announced that she was going to retire. So, I mean, they probably wouldn't have given her the win if that was the case. You know what Vince is like.
I don't think anyone knows what Vince is really like.
He's never ever happy with people if they want to leave.
I just think it's like quite cheap when it was like such a big thing for the title reign, and like they made so much out of like AJ's reign in the first place, to now suddenly have someone else that levels that or beats that. I think it cheapens the fact that like the whole reign took place in the first place.
I just kind of think with the whole Divas Revolution thing, having all these 6-man things were good originally, 6-woman things originally were good. That was great. But it never really came to anything. It's like surely that all their eyes were on the gold. That's the prize. The eyes should be on the prize. I mean, what's it do for Alicia Fox, which being their little buddy? I mean, surely you want the title. And that was never the focus. And meanwhile, she's just sitting there pretty, Nikki, and letting the clock tick down until she gets the longest Divas reign. Surely you should all be like, you're not going to get that. And then, like, it doesn't make any sense. It's like a team BAD, like being all best buds. But actually, really, they should just be like, saying, to be honest, we came together, we helped each other now. But actually, to be honest, I want the title. So see ya and go and get the title.
Well, even Brie should be like that, though.
Oh, she's not going to be like that. She just like standing at the ringside going, "Come on, Nikki."
That's she could be. She could be playing the best like game ever, in like pretending to be on Nikki's side. We still could see a turn.
What they should put her, what they should do on the night that she's about to beat the record is they should book all of them in a match, and it should be like. I don't know if it would work. Like either an over the top rope one, like a battle royal, or or just you have to pin the champion to get the victory. So, or maybe it goes to pinfall with the final two. And I would do something like that. I would have them all involved because it's like, give Divas a chance. We just involve all groups. They get eliminated one by one, and then you're left with potentially someone like Charlotte and Nikki, or Sasha and Nikki, and then they beat her for it. And that's what happens. That's the ultimate thing. Finished, done.
I'd love to see something like that. Just it makes Nikki's reign like more important if she has like harder matches like that instead of just all these like squash matches she's had and things. What I would love to see, I can't remember the name of it, but when they had like a title match and they had like a certain time limit on, so it was like 10 minutes, and then whoever was like the last person to get the pinfall was the champion.
Championship Scramble.
That's the one. So like a championship scramble, like the day before, like our reign like reaches like the same as AJ's. I would love something like that where it's like a big challenge to see if she can actually do it. And then you can see like who like gets that final pinfall. If Nikki's like holding on at the very end, or I think that'd be a really cool way to do it.
And the other awesome scenario, if they did do like a championship scramble and they all came in like at different points, and if you could potentially get AJ Lee in there, she could be the final person entering to that championship scramble. That'd be kind of awesome, wouldn't it?
Well, just have like AJ run in interference and like take out Nikki and let someone get the pinfall.
Yeah, just anything really. I mean, I'm sure they could get AJ Lee for one night. It just depends if they want to do that with Punky around,
I think that'd be an awesome way to do it. Like, forget CM Punk. Like, it doesn't matter. Everyone's forgotten him anyway. They're not chanting for him. So get AJ in. Like, do that. Get rid of this reign for Nikki, and then we can move on to something better. We can get Sasha and Charlotte.
That's what I just think that they're really devaluing the girls like Sasha and to be honest, Naomi, because I think that both of them should be strong characters to want the belt, not like working together as Team Bad. I really don't see the point of that. I think that they should want the belts.
Just bad booking, isn't it?
It's a lot of the case, to be honest. But yeah, so I mean, it's likely she's going to surpass it, but. Maybe, just maybe, they might throw us one more curveball.
I hope so. I just hope there's like something in there where it keeps her waiting and wanting to see how it plays out, and not just a case of we've got to wait till Night of Champions. We know she's going to pass it, and there's no reason to really watch up to that point.
Well, that's it. The whole point is to watch it to see if she loses, and you're not going to get that if it gets to Night of Champions. It will just be another match. So, well done, WWE. Okay, so let's kind of shift gears a bit, and let's kind of we've got two final topics to talk about. Let's touch on GFW, Global Force Wrestling versus TNA, Total Nonstop Action. I haven't said that in a while, saying that. Or TNA Impact Wrestling. Kind of going head to head now because it's been revealed that Jarrett's master plan it's Karen's master plan was to, have the GFW roster, take out the TNA roster. I think it was something like who took out Drew Galloway, and it was actually Karen that did it with the help of the GFW guys. And now,
I was going to say Karen took out Drew Galloway.
It was along those lines. I think it actually was. She hit him with something. He was found on his back or something. It was just to write him off TV for a little while. But anyway, it came to fruition that Jeff Jarrett was back in this, and then he abused Dixie Carter by shouting by berating her, and it all led to this. What's coming up now, and I hear what's on the cards. I think it's that lethal lockdown will be GFW versus TNA. Winner takes all in terms of Dixie's stake of the company and GFW. Who's going to have control? Now, is this a great move for TNA? I don't think so. Is it a good move for GFW? Of course it is. GFW are eating up TNA TV time week on week at Destination America. They don't even need a TV deal because they're letting TNA do it for them. Absolutely brilliant for Jeff Jarrett. What the fuck does it do for Dixie Carter? It does fuck all for her. What is she on? Is she on? I don't know what she's been sniffing, but it's just ridiculous.
It's crazy to let someone just come in and just go by your roster. They've even been picking up titles and things. So why you would sort of agree to that situation is just beyond me. I can't see why she's done that. It just further devalues the TNA roster if they're getting beat by these new GFW guys.
And one big question of it all was because I remember there was a altercation between because basically Dixie booked or said that Jarrett, after Buddy Ray hightailed it out of there, it was that Jarrett was going to be the law enforcement guy for maybe a couple of shows, and Ethan Carter kind of went face to face with him and said, I don't like this. Even told Dixie, because he thought at the time it was going to be him, and it's funny enough that although GFW are sort of taking over a bit, Ethan Carter, unless he's recently, on the last show, I haven't seen it, he's just stuck in a feud with the Hardys. I think he's now he's looking to have put in place Jeff Hardy as his personal assistant if he loses if he beats Matt Hardy. So I'm like, hold on a minute. The world champion here is busy with a storyline, but he's not involved in the big storyline, which is surely to make sure that the company is secure. If there's no company, there's no champion. Come on, TNA. Do your homework. Get Ethan Carter at the forefront of your company, defending it. It doesn't matter that he's a heel. He's a bloody good heel, and he can do that.
Well, that is the thing, though. If you've watched the preview for next week's Impact, one of the problems with this as well is the fact that this big match, the Lethal Lockdown, takes place on Impact next week. So it's not even like a pay-per-view or a live special, anything like that. And to make it worse, the preview for it hints the company's future is on the line in this Lethal Lockdown match. And then that's not actually the main thing of the preview, because then it ends on the championship and whether Jeff Hardy is going to be the personal assistant and agree to what he's agreed to in the past, or if it's going to prove more problems for EC3. So it's well, put that aside a second. The whole company's future is on the line here. Surely that's the thing that you should be focusing on. We're just going to get a case of this match takes place, GFW win, and it's well, hang on, what's the point in the main event? Your company's now just lost.
Well, the thing was, if you cast your minds back to all the time of when Ethan Carter wasn't champ, but he was aligned with Dixie, his whole thing was his loyalty to Dixie. It was the same with Rockstar Spud. The whole thing was that they were with Dixie Carter, even around the time when Magnus was champ. They were standing by her side. When she went away and she came back, he was still saying to her, I've missed you, and Aunt Dixie, all that stuff. And it was it still felt that. And then obviously she turned face, and he was kind of a bit well, what's up with that? But still never really turned against Dixie Carter. So you would think that his priority would be, look, I had a match with Matt Hardy. I beat you. I need to go and attend to this now. This is my priority. I want to be involved in that Lethal Lockdown match because I'm the sort of guy that can get you over the finish line. I mean, you got to look at GFW. I don't know who's going to be in their lethal lockdown side, but they're all on the same wavelength. They're all looking out for one thing, and that's putting over their own company. TNA have got so mixed up in these random storylines is that in terms of booking this whole feud with the two companies clashing together, if you ain't going to involve your world champion, it kind of makes it look like ridiculous that you really give a shit. So, come on, this is like basics.
It's just completely like gone to crap. Like compared to what we had a few months ago, it was saying like TNA seems to be getting back on track,
and then with good booking.
Yeah, and then GFW stuff happened, and it's just been an absolute nightmare. It's been booked badly. It's been taped, so we know what's already happened. I don't even know if like next week's stuff has been taped. So like we could probably like check now and see whether or not like who wins or loses. And if you're watching that and you've already read the spoilers, then what's the whole point in it? I'm sure like EC3, it's a case of he's read the spoilers for what happens next Wednesday, and he's like, I don't need to get involved in this match. I know we'll win. So, like, I'm still going to be the champ. Like, screw this. I'm not wasting my time.
Well, my biggest problem with it at the moment is I'm going to TNA in January. I don't even know what version of a company I'm going to get to see. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a crossover with GFW.
Well, you could be going to GFW at this rate.
I know. But the thing that really hacks me off about it is that when I booked my tickets a long time ago, we had guys like Aries there. We had a lot of good superstars there. I've let all of them go to sacrifice, I gather, probably getting the GFW bit on board. And I'm looking at the GFW side, and I look at like I think we've got like PJ Black, who was Justin Gabriel. I finally remembered his name. And then we had guys like as well Chris Masters. I think Chris Masters is all right. I've seen him come over here in the UK and wrestle. But there's no real guy out there that I'd think, holy crap. And you know, it just makes me think to myself, TNA should be bigger than this. And they should be dominating this. And meanwhile, all that's going on here, and we've also got questions from Destination America that they don't want to renew. And meanwhile, sitting in the background, Ring of Honor are just ticking along nicely, being funded, well funded for that matter. Their product doesn't look great in terms of lighting and stuff, but their show is credible. And I don't watch a whole lot of Ring of Honor, but from what I've heard, is Destination America very happy with that. They've got them like running more times than TNA as well. So it clearly shows that that's where Destination America's priorities at, is Ring of Honor. So what on earth is going on with TNA? I mean, they should have smashed it out of the ballpark with Destination America. And there's somehow, I gather that Destination America probably thinks that the company's run like a shambles. And it is.
It is. And
it's a shame.
I'm sure like over like the last couple of weeks I've read that some of the international markets that like TNA, like Destination America serve, have stopped broadcasting TNA. And that could be like a foresight as to them actually ending this run with TNA when the contract expires later this year and kind of putting that focus all on Ring of Honor.
My problem is that I like TNA. I've tried to defend TNA on so many occasions. I could never defend the Bully Ray thing. That was ridiculous. I would have seen that coming a mile off if I was a booker there. I would have told Dixie Carter to not bring him back. He wants to be a part of WWE. It was clear, and they still booked him and brought him back. This storyline now wasn't difficult to book, this invasion angle. You just had to make sure you had your champion heading it up. If they used that King of the Mountain belt, then use PJ Black or whoever it is to face off. Have a few things in and out. But if you're going to go down this route, this has got to be the be-all and end-all of your nights. It's GFW versus TNA, and that is it. And we've got some real heat going on because the company is at stake here. But having side storylines of things like, Jeff Hardy becoming someone's personal assistant is absolute bollocks. It just doesn't. It just takes away all the interest in what the underlying goal is defending your company. I just can't. I don't know. I could have like a full mental meltdown on how bad Dixie Carter has booked this company, or she lets people book this company. I don't know if it's her exactly, but come on, I can book this better than you guys. Smack Talks can book it better. Every Wee Talker could book it better. It's frustrating as hell. I nearly knocked my headset off as well.
I was going to say, I can tell like you're getting frustrated. Just throw that headset down.
It's just, it's annoying. You try your best to defend TNA, but it's almost like I listened to JR's podcast. He had a guy from PW Insider on it, and he was saying, the writing's on the wall. He says he doesn't think it's going to be like, immediately. but it doesn't look good. All their talent's gone. They've let go of all their talent. They've cut the pay. You've just got the guys there that, like a couple of big guys, and that's it really. And they're sort of taking on more the GFW aspect, which maybe leads me to believe that potentially GFW is going to launch a takeover and actually buy out the company in real life. But how has it got to this? How the fuck did it get to this? How?
Well, when I was like in New York with like a couple of other people that do like a lot of interviews with actual talent, then a lot of them were saying that the writing is definitely on the wall and they don't expect TNA to make it through this next year. So I think there is like truth to this. I think it's a big time now where this could be the end of TNA, and this whole takeover thing could actually lead into a proper takeover from GFW. But at the same time, like I know like the tapings and things have already taped like more in advance of next week. So it makes you wonder how it's going to play out. I don't know what the set was like. Is it a GFW set? Could they actually like take over and like have a whole GFW ring set up and things? And then Dixie try and regain control back? It's just a crazy situation. And I have no idea why she's agreed to it. I don't even know what to think anymore.
I'd have to say, if now was the time for someone to strike, and if Jeff was to absorb TNA and repackage it with GFW and just absorb the roster and take on the contracts and stuff, Dixie Carter moves aside. Maybe that's the best thing for it at the moment, because as I say, I'm trying to fight the good fight in terms of saying that TNA should be booking themselves better. But she's not booking. It's their creative. They invited them on board. So GFW should have to do what TNA expect of them. But I'm beginning to get the impression that actually Jarrett's got a major now hold in this company again. So he can book what he likes as well. So maybe he's at the writing table and all. And if that's the case, then he's going to book GFW strong. So maybe it's a case of Jarrett's got a bit of a stake again, maybe looking to buy her out. If they did that, they repackaged it, and then it was GFW that absorbed the TNA deal, maybe Destination America would be more happy with that, because Jarrett can reach out to a wider audience. He could then start bringing over, your guys like AJ and stuff, if New Japan let them, negotiate that sort of contract. And potentially maybe you could have a really good show on your hands again. I really am frustrated from a Dixie Carter point of view. I think that how could you have done this to a company that had such good things going for it? And we're talking like 10 years ago, and then even up to recent date, they really did, swing round the corners and stuff when the Hogan era worked very hard, but then they negotiated a deal with Destination America, who quite frankly didn't care for them after that. She said that she was looking for the best place for TNA. She found the wrong place. She makes too many mistakes.
She does. I think it's just a case of like, if Jarrett was to like take over, like not in terms of storyline, but to actually like buy Dixie out, I think it's the best thing that could possibly happen for the company. I think Dixie,
his booking's better than hers would be. He would run the company better. The talent would believe in him more, I think.
It's just now, surely if you're like a TNA like employee and you're watching this, then it's kind of gone as far as it can go with Dixie. Something really has to change, and they've changed so many superstars. They've changed the look, the name, the ring, commentary team. The only thing that's still there, that's still pulling it down, is Dixie.
Well, I used to say that there was too many chefs in the kitchen and you can't always blame Dixie Carter, but I'll go back to that. She's the one that has the say on these things. She would have been the one that signed off Hulk Hogan joining the company, and at the beginning time that would have been amazing, but she let him have too much reign with Bischoff, and they ruined the company because they tried to book things. What kind of idiot would have switched to Monday nights to try and compete with WWE? She would have signed that off to make that change on Spike. She has the overall say. She is the owner of the company.
Well, that's the thing. You say there's like too many chefs in the kitchen. Get rid of the head chef. That's what's causing the problems.
Exactly. It's frustrating, and you could rant on it all day. But something needs to change now. I feel sorry for guys like EC3, because if you think about it, if GFW took over, I'd hope that he could keep his EC3 gimmick, but it's kind of would feel weird, wouldn't it?
It would, but I think they would have to. Like, he's one of the biggest things to come out with TNA, and he's such a great, talented guy then surely they would recognise that. I'm sure Jeff would.
Because like I say, if you then say, "Oh, he's not called Ethan Carter anymore," he's a big player, but he's lost the gimmick that he had to make him that gimmick. That's the trouble with making him related to Dixie Carter. Maybe Dixie Carter can play a bit role of a TV personality on GFW or something like that. But I don't want her running the company. She can't run. She's made too many mistakes.
I think it just gets to a point where Dixie has to kind of sit down and look at things and think, you know, if I really do care for this company and I want to see it succeed, then it's probably best for the company if I was to walk away from it and put someone else like Jarrett in charge.
Well, what I really want, and this isn't just wrestling related in terms of Dixie Carter, but I want someone to, because we have like shows like Wrestle Talk TV, we have people that have good connections with these companies and stuff. I want someone to sit down with Dixie Carter and ask her some proper questions. It really pisses me off that when you get someone like that in the room, and yeah, okay, maybe it's a case of that she says, I don't want to answer any awkward questions, but wouldn't it be fantastic for once if somebody fired a proper question at her about the company? Every time she's done tours over here, she sat down with like companies and stuff, and they don't ask her the right questions. They never ask her the hard-hitting questions. Like, you know, with GFW, do you not feel that you've let your company, you know, slip aside by letting GFW in? You know, what about the Hogan and Bischoff? Do you see that as a failure or a success? You know, no one asks these questions. It annoys me that you've got these like journalists that pay to do this stuff, and they don't nail them down to the wall.
Would you do it though if you got the opportunity to speak to her?
If she said she was open to any questions, I'd ask, yeah. I think you'd have to ask.
I think a lot of them are just polite in the fact that, you know, in that situation, even if it's someone that you do have like a lot of questions that you would fire at them and want to get like a really like good response out of them, just the fact that you're there in the moment, I don't know if you would really ask the big questions like that in terms of like being polite.
The difference is, it's not I'm saying like, I've watched like, there's a guy on Wrestle Talk, I think his name's Ben Spindler. He asked quite hard-hitting questions. He did it with Russo. He really did question Russo hard. That's the sort of guy that I would want to interview Dixie. I don't like who's the other chap on Wrestle Talk? There's another chap on there from the Daily Mail or something like that. He doesn't really ask that hard questions, so it feels like that they just being polite, like you say. Whereas I think that when a company like this is in such trouble, the fans deserve a right to know a bit more about it. So you should ask those questions if you get the opportunity.
The problem is though, if like someone like Wrestle Talk on Challenge, they have like a good relationship with TNA.
Piss them off, yeah.
So you kind of do something like that where it's going to like piss them off, and they're going to like cut the ties with you. And in terms of like the viewership, would you really want to let the audience know that the company's in trouble, like by giving out something like that, where it's going to affect like viewership and things?
But we know it's in trouble. We know.
We do. We're clued up. There's like a lot of the audience that'll just be watching it and enjoying it.
If guys like, I mean, we're fans about it and stuff, but if you've got like guys like PW Insider pretty much predicting it's happening, you know, I don't know. I just want someone to get her in a room and ask her some serious questions, because it always feels like to me she just deflects the stuff, and we find out that TNA's like hanging on by a thread, and it's still just about managing it. I want TNA to get better, but I can't see it happening, and I just want someone to really say to her, what are you doing with the booking? Does anyone ask it?
Well, I don't think they do. It's like the hard questions like that. People always tend to like walk away from. So they'll go with like the kind of generalized things that you would usually ask. But I think you're right. I think someone that's paid to do it in terms of like a proper journalist, like for a big company, should sort of fire those kind of questions at her and try and get a good response and just see what she really thinks. Because I'm sure what she really thinks and what she actually says is two completely different things. And then if that's not the case, I think what we should all do is just club together and just buy out TNA ourselves.
I would love that.
Give them 20 quid. We're sorted.
You can't tell me that the talent are happy with the way things are going here. You let guys like James Storm go, they come back and then they leave again. It's like, you know, these guys deserve better than that. They were like the founders of your company. You let them all go. I just can't understand it. It's totally ridiculous. that's why I think that I would love someone who's got the ability to get in there to ask those questions. But I understand that it's not always possible. But I don't know. I think that shows the passion, because you want to know why you keep making these mistakes.
Well, I'm sure like Dixie will get a lot of people that do ask her that. Not in terms of journalists, but like just on Twitter and things. Like all these people asking her why she's doing this and doing that. And it's because they care about the company. And I'm sure like she'll understand that. But for whatever reason, we don't know the facts and she's gone with this. So I think if it all does like come crashing down, then it'll be really interesting to see if she like does an interview where she reveals kind of like the thought process behind things and what was actually going on backstage. Because I think that's like a story that a lot of people would love to find out.
Things usually tend to come out afterwards anyway, so I'm sure it probably would. And I kind of, I get that she defends it in the terms of she just kind of batters over it. It's a lot like when you book stuff. It's like when I book like Saturday Night Main Event, people just criticise and always, you can never win. Like I say, you can never be the best booker in the world. There's always something that someone will pick something on. But I think that it's not, I don't criticise their booking half the time. I'm criticising the GFW bit. But like we said, and like you said, maybe about two or 3 months ago, I was praising how good their show was. It was just the shit behind the scenes. And
now it's the shit that's on camera?
Yeah, so that's the bit. I mean, you were doing so well in my point of view, and you blew it. Who came up with that idea? Who slipped you a bit of paper and said to do that? Was it Billy Corgan? We could go through all the bookers that are there, Dave Lagana. They could go through them all. It's so difficult. There's so many of them.
But something has to change. I think that's like the main thing that we can take from this. It's got to change, and hopefully once like this whole match is over, if TNA win it, then just draw a line under it. Get rid of Jarrett. Like, we don't need to see him on TV with GFW. It's a TNA show. Let them get their own show, and then they can go with it from there. Maybe bring TNA on there and give them some exposure.
Yeah, I mean, when Jarrett gets a TV deal, it's level playing field. You can have people jump from different shows. But you can't just expect it to be Jarrett invading your show constantly. That doesn't seem fair, does it? Doesn't seem logical or right from a company to keep letting someone else do that.
Well, the problem is though, now when Jarrett does get his own show, then if this TNA thing comes to a conclusion with this Lethal Lockdown match next week, there's no need to revisit it. So TNA won't then gain anything from having their people appear on GFW, surely?
Yeah, they'd have to just drop another storyline. It's the same old.
It'd be like WWE, they just revisit it.
It's ridiculous. It's really frustrating. As a TNA fan, like I say, if someone could just probably put in the comments, "Oh, you just bashed TNA for 20 minutes," wherever it was, I'll just be like, "Well, I'm going to the show in January, so as a fan that's been like every year they come across the pond. I've been to them when I was in Florida. I heavily support the show. I have a reason to wanna know why it's gone so wrong to a point where there's a lot of rumors that this company's going to go under. So." Yeah.
You know what the best thing is?
Go on.
What could happen for you at this point? It's just TNA launch an on-demand video archive, and you can watch all TNA matches where Sting was like the world champion. Everything was great. There's no Dolph and Rusev. Perfect thing for you. Just sit and spend your nights watching that.
I could do that, actually. I'd really like to do that. I might just do that today and just Google all Sting's greatest matches.
Just get you nice and relaxed. Forget about the rest.
Man called Sting.
Was that his TNA theme? Was that WCW?
It was WCW, but who cares? I can't do the other themes.
Just get your violin out.
I could. I have to. I've left it. It's not with me this week. All right, let's move on. That's enough TNA ranting for 1 week. We should have like a rant zone, but then it might take the whole show. So
Well, we rant could be a completely different show.
Re-rant would be like a past the watershed sort of show. That'd be good though. If you want to see that, then by all means, we could maybe schedule like a 20-minute show where we just rant about one topic. Boom.
20 minutes? I'm sure you'd rant more than that.
All right, fine. Maybe an hour, but let's see what the Wee Talkers want. Do you want to re-rant?
Well, I think this is like borderline at the minute. It's already kind of gone past the watershed with some of the Snitsky references.
It kind of has.
John Laurinaitis.
I mean, let's
pushing the boundaries here.
Let's be honest. It's either a toss-up between a We Rant or maybe like a Smack That show. But I don't really want to know what the Smack That show is all about. It sounds a bit dodgy, to be honest with you.
That could be something completely different.
Yeah, I know. It really could be.
It's kind of awkward when it comes to smack and things, because like even like thinking up different terms, I'm like tempted to call my fans smack addicts.
Smack addicts? They sound like freaking drug addicts.
Well, it does, but there's nothing else I can really use as a
Smackheads.
exactly. You see what I mean? There's problems here, isn't there? I'm gonna have to change my name.
Smack. Yeah, there's nothing that really goes with it.
I'm gonna have to go for a gimmick change. Nothing works. Smack addicts, smack heads.
Smack it just sounds a bit dirty.
Yeah, it's not very good, is it? I should have thought this through.
Could be worse. Could have come up with a different name. I'm not sure what yet, but
I'll have to go for a gimmick change. Repackage myself.
Oh dear! Don't do that. Who knows what you'll come back as?
Who knows? Who knows?
Anyway, last topic, serious topic as well. Superfly Jimmy Snuka has, well, he's been charged with murder, and we don't really know all the ins and outs of what's happened here. And I know it's like this happened in like 1983, I think, the murder charge, and this is before I was even born. So like this is like a long, long time ago. And obviously it got brought back up, and I think it was because on the basis that Snuka had changed his story in his book. So he'd said originally something and that had changed to something else. That made them reopen the case, and obviously now he's been charged, I think with manslaughter, and so yeah, he's looking at possibly maybe the prison sentence for the remainder of his career, remainder of his life. So I know he's like 72 now, I think, so he's not exactly in great condition. I think he's got issues with his stomach cancer and stuff like that. So, I mean, is he even functional to, to withstand something like that? Does he even know what's going on around him? But, I mean, we'll probably talk a little bit about that, but the more of the question is now is the way that WWE handled it. And I think the thing that I just wanted to mention is when you look at the way that WWE have handled Hulk Hogan, does it not give you more perspective of what Hulk Hogan did now? Because we've got here another legend who really has maybe committed a very serious crime, and it sounds like he possibly did. But I said the time period that this has gone by, you could never know. The evidence must be so hazy. But regardless, if he's charged with it, then you have to take it that that's that. How could WWE justify, the way that they really did de-excommunicate, get rid of Hulk Hogan in comparison to what they would have to do with Snuka? If they remove Snuka from everything, the only thing they haven't done with Hogan is remove him from the Hall of Fame, I think. So it's pretty harsh for just some comments compared to something like a manslaughter charge.
It is. It puts it all into perspective, like what Hogan's said, compared with something like this, where it's something that you would expect them to kind of take the same stance that they did with Hogan, but it does kind of fit the core reason behind it. The only thing I would sort of mention is you mentioned it was in regards to his book, like he changed his story. Mm-hmm. Is that like a recent book?
I don't know how long ago the book was. I just read that he'd originally in his statement to the police said one thing, and then when the book came out, he changed his story. So, I mean, again, how do you? It depends maybe when that book was released, but how do you really take that? It's difficult.
What we know about Snuka at the minute is he's battling stomach cancer. He's got a feeding tube. He's in a wheelchair, and they say he's not really entirely sure as to what's going on around him. So depending on when this book was coming from, if you think in this all took place in 1983, then if your story has changed, it could just be a case of his memory's not as it was, and he maybe doesn't recall things as they were at the time. So it could be something like that, what's sort of brought all this back up. But at the same time, it's taken place such a long time ago. There's going to be no new evidence or anything like that. So it seems strange to kind of revisit this now. But at the same time, it's kind of good for the family to actually get some closure on it, rather than have this open sort of all the time and never sort of understand what actually happened.
Well, yeah, from the family's point of view, it's it's something that had to get closure. From Snuka's point of view, then you don't really know what to think, because obviously, like I say, the evidence would be so shady. If they've managed to reopen this case now, what's made it's such a long period of time. You just wonder, how could they have done that? I mean, how could they have come to that judgment? But nevertheless, whatever they found, you have to kind of agree or go with. But with the WWE, I just think that, this really, like you say, puts it into perspective as to how they treated Hogan. I mean, Hogan made some flippant comments and was really punished severely for it. Snooker's going to get the same treatment. And when you look at things, you think to yourself, should Hogan have just got given a severe warning and be done with it?
But I think so. I think the whole thing with Benoit and completely removing him, then obviously that was justified. This thing's with Snooker, if it's the same thing, then that's justified. With Hogan, it was just some comments that he made years ago in private that weren't ever meant to be aired. So it puts it into perspective that way. I don't think that's enough to actually remove someone from history and completely rewrite things. So it puts it into perspective that way. And I think it just kind of shows that the whole Hogan stuff was kind of blown out the water when it first happened.
Yeah, it's just like I said, it's just that's what I've kind of come to the conclusion of. I feel a bit for Hogan now because I think to myself, and I do think that a lot of people have already kind of let that pass. Everyone's already come over the fact that the Hogan issue is pretty much put to bed now, and he's working to move on to things. But WWE really didn't put themselves in a very good light for that. Yeah, you've got to be on the side of taking it seriously, but when you've got the side of it being a comment to what's now being put on the table, and you're almost treating them the same, it doesn't come close. It's madness.
It is. I think it's just like you say, it has put it in perspective, and it's good to see that they're taking a stance with it. But the Hogan stuff, maybe people can see it in a different light now compared to this.
Yeah. So, guys, I kind of wanted to get people's views on that. What do you think now of Hogan in terms of his situation compared to what's going on at the moment? A difficult one, definitely, to talk about, but I think it's probably something that will be covered. And we don't know all the ins and outs at the moment. So yeah, we kind of thought it was worth mentioning as well because it was a big thing. And Snooker, obviously, in terms of being in the wrestling ring, he was a legend. And I'd say as well to mention that, you look at Snooker and you think to yourself, well, this has come out about him. But he's not the only controversial person that's in that Hall of Famer. You've got Scott Hall, I think, who's had a charge against him in the past for something very similar. But he sits in the Hall of Fame as well. There's a few others out there that have done things. And then again, as I say, the way that Hogan was treated for something which really was just a comment. And then you do comparisons to what Scott Hall may have done. But this WWE's never really penalised him for it. It's bizarre.
It is. I think what they've kind of done now is they've just set a precedent. So if anything happens in the future like this, you'd expect them to go exactly the same and down the same route.
Yeah. So, okay, I mean, that kind of brings us to a close. It's a bit of a somber note for We Talk. But Smack Talks, have you got any sort of shameless plugs for us this week?
Well, there's been a load of 2K16 news, so if you want to get up to speed with that, then there's a bunch of news channels over on my channel. And if you want something different, I've just started a playthrough of Until Dawn, so you can check that out on my second channel, Smack Talk Extra.
Ah, I'm getting that today.
Are you getting it, are you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know if I'll be putting any content up about it, but I'm probably going to be shitting my pants regardless. It's meant to be scary.
It's quite scary. There's a few jump scares, so I don't know how you'll cope with that.
Don't know. We'll wait and see. Yeah, make sure you do go check out all the stuff on Smack Talk's channel. In regards to me, got Saturday night main event. SummerSlam was last week. Go check out SummerSlam if you haven't seen it already. It took a while to get uploaded, but it finally got there in the end. And I think you guys are enjoying it. So yeah, make sure you do check that out. Check out tonight. In terms of tonight, probably something you won't expect. So let's just put it that way, and I'll leave it there. So yeah, kind of brings.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah, well, that's the idea, So guys, let us know by the comment section below what you think of this week's We Talking Points, which was obviously Seth Rollins doing double duty, the crazy world of Rusev and his scenario with Summer Rae, Lana, and Ziggy Ziggler, Nikki Bella and her title reign. Jesus. And GFW TNA, what the hell is going on with that? And then maybe as well just touch on Jimmy Snuka. Yeah, that kind of brings us to a close for another week.
It's been good.
It has been good. So I guess all that's left to be said is, are you going to catch us later?
Catch you later.
Yes, this is Delzinski and Smack Talks for another We Talk, signing out.
Hi wrestling fans and gamers, Velvet Sky here, and I just want to say I've been hearing a rumor that Delzinski.com is the best place for video gaming and wrestling content.